So let's get stuck straight in, Pat, to probably the main conversation I was keen to have. And it's not a more serious one. It is a very serious one. So Adam Sard, again, a victim of some racial slurs over there at Adelaide Oval. Now, it's not about, which crowd members and whose team you're barrack for. The thing I'm more interested in is this. Now, we see it too often. But I want to make an analogy, and then I want to get your reasoning as to why it's different. So when anyone cops are lashing on social media, we're all taught to ignore it. We're taught to not give it oxygen, not to give that person who's got 15 followers any oxygen by us replying to it. Now, when someone is racially vilified, the stance now across the board and very much directly and wholeheartedly is to call that out. What's the difference there? What were the conversations? I know you'd be semi-privy to these conversations. Eddie Betts has been incredibly strong on calling it out. So what's going on there? What is the difference there between trolling on social media and that direct racial vilification?
Well, I suppose as players, and it's been quite clearly, I mean, it's always been there, but like you said, when you start to call it out and you're really strong on all the different incidents that happen, then it magnifies. But the reason that we do is simply the guidance that we've had from our Indigenous players. We have an Indigenous advisory board around, the best way moving forward, and we take our guidance from them around, what's the best fit here? What do you think? And there was a stage where it was you just don't give it oxygen. But I think the support that our Indigenous players and our different multicultural players feel when it is called out it is so potent and strong, and their self-worth is so much higher when you have industry calling out, saying that no, this is not good enough, regardless of how small a person and what pissant said it. It doesn't matter. Regardless, we're going to call it out. We're going to support our players, and this is another example of that. It's quite clearly really disappointing, but our players, like they are, our multicultural players, this is are so impressive, because I'm sure they'd get angry, but they constantly talk about education.
Yeah,
it's and the high ground that they take. It's incredibly impressive. Knowing Eddie for a really long period of time, I know the toll that certainly it's taken on him throughout his career. But he implores education constantly, and what a terrific role model that he's been. But Adam Sard, certainly within the Muslim community, he has a huge role to play there. And I thought he handled it with absolute class. It would be no doubt really difficult, I think, as supporters, as football people, in a safe way, call those people out, refer them to your Adelaide Oval security or whatever ground. This happens at every ground. Let's make no two bones about that. Call it out for what it is. See security and have them escorted out. There's nothing. I think we've got to be that strong going forward that power to the people, and you have the opportunity to say something, say something, and do something about it.
I like it. It was just something that you hear a lot of people say, a lot of people who aren't as informed as you and I, and particularly you, who sit through a lot of these discussions with the Indigenous and multicultural players who have that view of saying we've got to call it out, to stamp it out. You hear a lot of people saying, let's just ignore it, and would that potentially be the answer? So I was just keen to get you to give some insight into that.